All right, it's been a couple vlogs since we've done the series, so we're going to get back to it tonight. Our series on advice for a 15-year-old son, how to be a happy husband. As always, a link to the article is in the description, so go ahead and check that out. It's a couple-minute read, but it's packed full of great information. So check that out, and tonight we're going to go on being empathetic. Again, this is one of those topics that I think doesn't just apply to how you treat your spouse or girlfriend as you're leading up to your spouse or whatever, but just in general, if you treat anybody this way, builds a stronger relationship and just great trust. So, in my view, being empathetic is recognizing the emotions of the other person. You know, understanding that they have emotions, and those emotions may differ from yours in the same situation. So I think what helps a lot is putting aside your viewpoints and trying to see things from their perspective. You know, we have our viewpoints, and they're built on the experiences and the upbringing and everything that we've had through our lives. And so somebody else is going to have different viewpoints, different opinions, and being able to stop and put yours aside and try to understand where they're coming from, I think definitely helps a lot. And you also want to acknowledge the other person's perspective. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to agree with what they're saying, but acknowledge it, that they have their viewpoints, and it's based on the history of where they're coming from, and you know how their life has been to that point. Another thing you want to do is examine, you know, your attitude. Where are you coming from? You know, in this particular instance, what are you trying to get out of it? You know, are you trying to solve a situation or gain, you know, something from that interaction? And think about that, you know, and where are they coming from? What are they also trying to achieve out of this? And another important aspect of this is just listening to what they're saying, and I think that's the key to a lot of things, especially in communication. Foundation is being able to listen and hear what they're saying, and not always try to throw your voice or your opinion over theirs, but listen and understand, you know, what they would do. And as you're going through the situation with, you know, somebody, or you're being empathetic and listening and understanding their viewpoint and where they're coming from, and that is you know, always ask, what would they do in that situation, and understand that and try to figure it out. Again, doesn't mean you necessarily have to agree or endorse that, but it just helps your understanding. And I think when you do that, and especially if the other person can do that as well, builds a stronger relationship, come up with a lot more mutual agreements, and keep building that strong relationship. So that's what I have for you tonight. Hope you have a great evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.